Boston Public Schools have been making some progress in recent years, but less than 2/3 of the students entering grade 9 complete high school in 4 years. That means a large number of students who drop out. In Boston, there have been new efforts to get these students back on track, and a new report on student re-engagement has recently been issued by the Rennie Center for Education Research and Policy. Our guest from the center is the Executive Director, Chad. Thank you very much for being with us, Chad.
Thank you for having me.
This is just talking about Boston alone, this is a large number of students. I imagine there's got to be this spectrum between the total lost causes and kids who are just a little short.
Well, one of the interesting things about the Boston Re-Engagement Center, which is an institution that focuses specifically on engaging students who have left school and bringing them back, is they have a specialized technique that individualizes the program that they provide to students. So it's applicable to everyone, and they can work with students who have severe challenges and that have resulted in them leaving school, or those that have just lost their way just a little bit and can bring them back in. That by emphasizing individual assets for kids, we find that there's a big difference in success for them.
What about some of the more difficult students? Because you might have somebody who has a number of different problems at the same time, and maybe the solution is not strictly educational.
Well, one of the things that we found as a reason for success in the Boston Re-Engagement Center is it's actually located separately from a traditional public school setting. It's a safe space for students to come to, and then the staff at the Re-Engagement Center have their own personal experience with struggling in the educational system. Many of them are former dropouts or had other problems that they've encountered, and they can relate that experience to the students, get them equipped to succeed in an educational setting, and then place them accordingly in one of the many options Boston has throughout the school system.
I imagine you might need, I guess, what they call wraparound services. So you might go to an education program at one place, but maybe it even could be in the same building. You might be going to an entirely different kind of program to help with something else.
Yeah, the staff at the Boston Re-Engagement Center do a very nice job of recognizing that at this point in time, Boston Public Schools is developing a lot of different options for students, what we call alternative educational options, for students who have issues where they need to work during the day. They may have their own family responsibilities, either for an ill parent or their own child care situation, that the staff can place them at different educational programs, whether they are alternative schools or enrichment and after-school programs, extended learning time and so forth, to get them up to speed and make sure that they're pursuing their education while also taking care of life responsibilities.
With such a large percentage of students who fail to complete high school in 4 years, you have to ask the question, is it about doing more to help the students who have already left, or does something differently have to be done to help the students who are still in high school?
It's a great question. I mean, one of the things that we found with the Re-Engagement Center are a few core lessons learned, that where students are successful and where staff have successfully reached them, it was in enabling them to think about their future, have a clear path that would get them to a high school diploma and beyond, focus on their individual assets, what are their own talents that can be leveraged, and then work with them to place them in the right setting. And those lessons learned, we would argue, are easily applicable to settings where students are already enrolled in school and at risk of dropping out, and providing them with the same menu of options that students in the Boston Re-Engagement Center have.
What about the cost of leaving these problems unaddressed?
It's a large cost. Evidence that's been put forth by the Center for Labor Market Studies suggests that there is a net cost for every dropout from high school. It's over $100,000. It's about $122,000 a year. Whereas a high school graduate actually contributes through paid taxes and other sources of revenue close to $340,000 per year. So the difference between a high school dropout and a high school graduate approaches $500,000.
Where do you go from here? Because it looks as if there's plenty of room for improvement, so what else needs to be done?
Sure. One of the things that we would like to see is a formalization of the strategies that the Boston Re-Engagement Center has put forth. Right now, it's a very impressive program, but it also rests on the hard work of a lot of committed individuals. So in Boston, how do we take the lessons learned from the Re-Engagement Center, make them available in a wide range of educational settings, and also increase the number of options that are available for students once they're re-engaged and ready to re-enroll? They have different options to go to that suit their needs. I also think what Boston has done has some valuable lessons for the rest of the state. There's no reason why re-engagement centers and other approaches to dealing with out-of-school youth can't be applied in similar urban settings and other districts.
Talk about the need to depart from a conventional high school setting when you're re-engaging with students, because sometimes you might have a student who maybe isn't all that disaffected, maybe the academic problem isn't all that bad, but if they're just 1 year older than the other people in that school, it might be hard to go back.
Yeah, one of the things we found is that for a lot of students who had dropped out of school, they actually want to return. They just don't know how to go about it. And they're reticent to return to where they left because they have a feeling of failure associated with that setting. So Boston already offers a wide variety of options. There's ways to recover your credits. There's ways to take classes at night and ways to take them online. There's ways to go to other settings. And the Re-Engagement Center staff are real experts in finding those options and connecting them with students.
Thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Chad from the Rennie Center.